proudest debate performance you've ever had?
Hard to say. I mean, probably my best debate in recent times is the Dyer debate, but I hate that debate, because it's not a debate. It was literally just a practice of, like, knowing more philosophy than he thought I did and staying calm as much as possible. But that was definitely, like Dyer is kind of like the boogeyman of, like, the presuppositionalist transcendental argumentation, so a lot of, like, Phil bros loved the fuck out of that debate because Dyer is, like, the final boss of presuppositionalism, and I made him just look really silly. Um, my proudest debate? Probably my debate with Andrew Wilson on whatever. I think that was a really good debate. It was challenging. Andrew Wilson's a really strong opponent. Him and I agreed beforehand that we were both going to be good faith because he oftentimes will utilize what I would call bad faith tactics. I do too at times. Just to be clear, everyone's bad faith. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad person. When I say bad faith to me is very neutral. Like, people use bad faith argumentation all the time. Steven does. It's not like this moral character indictment. I just do my best to not do that when I can. And I was like, you should do the same. And he agreed to it. And I think it was a fantastic debate. I think it was like one of the best debates I've ever had because he's a strong debater. He's really good to debate against. And his worldview is like wholly in conflict with mine. So it tested like every merit of my worldview. But because it was good faith, we actually got to like put the metal to the ground of like our ideas, like really wrestle them out. And I think we're both like, I think he's actually more rhetorically effective than I am. And so I got to take somebody on who's more rhetorically effective, but we're being good faith on ideas we fully oppose on. So I think I grew a lot as a debater as a result of that debate. So that's probably my favorite one.
Yeah, when you go on these shows, are you nervous or are you just like, "I'm built for this, so let's go?"
Super nervous.
How do you battle the nerves?
I made a commitment, so you got to go on. I pray. I pray beforehand. I've been increasingly trying to be mindful of praying beforehand because I don't always do that, but I try to pray beforehand. That like God would use me if this is a topic that matters in any way, and just kind of go in because there's no way to get over your nerves until you just go in and do it. Like you don't get over your nerves of jumping off the cliff. You just have to jump off the cliff.
Sure. What happens after these debates that you would go on live for? For example, after you debate Dyer, Andrew Wilson on whatever, do you guys go out and just, like, have a drink and chat more, or how's that even look, the after effects?
Yeah, so Andrew Wilson and I think, have a better relationship. It's tenuous. Sometimes we're enemies and sometimes we're not. I think we're in a breaking the bread era right now, though. Um, After my Andrew Wilson debate, we like chatted a little bit, talked a bit, but we didn't like go out to eat. Like we're not friends. Dyer came up to me and was like, "Good show. Sorry about that. That's just how I debate." And I told him, "I was actually super disappointed in you. I think that you could actually have a good debate, but you didn't, and you chose not to, and that's unfortunate." So he was really mad. He does not like me. He was like, he took his hand away, and like every woman will know this, that moment where you see a guy's face like swap to like a moment of like disgust and hatred, and then he like turned away. I was like, oh, this man fucking hates me now. Like he was pissed. So yeah, we did not go out for dinner, but I usually will catch food with Brian Atlas after whatever. Like him and I get along pretty well. So yeah, but it's usually like 2 a.m. by the time this shit ends. So
Yeah,
half the time you just
because
want
I
to.
imagine because 'cause you've done ones that are, like, 4 hours, 5
No,
hours
they're
maybe?
almost all 7 hours.
7?
Yeah,
Jeez, that's so mentally
yeah.
exhausting.
Uh-huh.
What do you think was I asked your greatest debate performance, so I gotta ask you, what do you think your worst debate performance?
Mm, Typically, I think my worst debate performances will be against Destiny. I've beat him once. Actually, it's recent, but I think my recent debate with Destiny was very poor. I think it was tough because me and my debate partner were not super aligned, and I was already arguing for a pretty ambiguous term. And I will say, I think Destiny and his opponent were being explicitly bad faith. Because when you're debating somebody who's using something ambiguous, so this is what conservatives do. They go, "What is a woman?" Right? And for somebody who's left, gender is kind of like somewhat ambiguous and vague. Like it's not. simple, which a lot of people think like the simple answer is the correct answer. That's not true because life is very complex, right? But arguing for an unsimple, more like nebulous concept, you're already struggling. Like it's already a tough debate. So I think I started with a nebulous topic. Me and my debate partner were not aligned. So we were kind of going in two separate directions all the time. And then, well, those two, Swipe Hill and Destiny, could kind of like 2v1 us each at a time. And I think I allowed them to run a narrative that I was like jumping back and forth on my definitions, which I wasn't really. I had like kind of two separate points that I was talking about. But again, I think it just got all, it was just muddled and messy. It was just not a strong debate. Although I was right, just to be clear.
Yeah, do you enjoy the team debates? I feel like that's so much more
No,
challenging working with someone.
no, I do not. If you have a good debate partner, it can be really fun. I had a debate a little bit ago just on TikTok with a guy named Staxiums. He's like this small liberal progressive content creator. Him and I bounced off of each other super well. And that when you have that, it's so fun. But it's really hard to have that. Like it is genuinely really hard. I usually try to just solo it as much as I can.
Sure, sure. Who do you think's the smartest person you ever debated?
Destiny is for sure the probably the smartest debater out there. He's just the best. I'm not even saying this because he's my friend. He's just like undeniably one of the strongest debaters.
What
I don't know if he's the
was
highest IQ though. Just to be clear, I don't know.
Sure, sure, sure.